November. Finn Russell at inside centre. Again, those changes against such an attacking side, but needs must sometimes. And Scotland, for all their attacking flair, Argentina backing off. It's still a maul, says Paul Williams. An advantage to Scotland. Goes a bit wrong for Argentina there. And Scotland with the very early penalty, and Brian Moore and Chris Patterson alongside today.
Well, a very efficient, competent start by Scotland, gathering the kick-off, and then strange decision, wasn't it, by the Argentinians, because not to engage in that.
Yeah, it was wonderfully taken, wasn't it, Grant Gilchrist? And then it became a maul because it was engaging, but I think it was Thomas Lavanini must have interpreted it that it wasn't a maul, and he tried to tackle it, and it was quite rightly penalised. This is a take from Gilchrist. Pouring rain above your head, first touch, that'll settle his nerves.
Down, front man, move.
Yeah, you can see Matera trying to pull it down there. It was a maul, and then Lavanini comes in second.
So Fraser Brown in as hooker today, and it works very swiftly away from the line out for Scotland. And then Hamish Watson, try scorer against South Africa, taken down initially by Matera. There's Hastings, gets the pass away quickly, bounces nicely on to Kinghorn, who's so quick. Kinghorn gliding his way into the 22, and Scotland immediately on the front foot. Brown has to bring it down and set himself forward again. And here is Adam Hastings. Deeper it goes to Hogg, but the tackle flying in from Matthias Moroni. And it just slows a bit, and the referee having a long look, but it's there for Scotland and there for Bergen. Gilchrist gives it on to Adam Hastings, and again gives it to Brown just as he's taken, but Scotland had the advantage, and now they have the penalty. And the man penalised was Santiago Medrano, and Scotland getting involved afterwards, and Moroni is rather on his own there. Then the troops arrive.
Where we go?
Well, decision here.
I'm pretty sure they'll attempt to 3 points, I think, Andrew. Goal. Let's see what Paul Williams has to say.
We've got a penalty here for an offside, but we don't need guys running in, okay? All right? Number 3, offside.
Number 3, Medrano offside. Scotland, for all the rain and the inclement conditions, have tried to play, and interestingly, the first 2 touches as a first receiver was Stuart Hogg. We've got Adam Hastings and Finn Russell has recognised tens or standoffs, and the first 2 times Scotland got the ball, it was Stuart Hogg who was at first receiver, and they were looking to play on the edge of that narrow Argentine defence.
It's interesting because almost everybody inside Murrayfield of Scottish persuasion wants to see this kind of stuff, wants to see the attacking, but Scotland have to treat this as if it were a year's time in the World Cup, and so get the win. 3 points is what you have to take when it's on offer.
Well, the two are kind of mutual. Scotland have to perform well to win. What gives them the best chance of winning is playing that wide game but with accuracy.
So Laidlaw does as Laidlaw is wont to do, and Scotland have the 3 points reward for their very bright opening 3 minutes, and they lead at Murrayfield.
Well, another point in deciding what you do points-wise is the reliability or otherwise of your goal kicker. In Greg Laidlaw, although he has a limited range, within that range he is very, very reliable.
And Hogg galloping onto that one. Matera gets him down. Fraser Brown carrying with Gilchrist and Gray alongside.
Time to use, please.
Laidlaw being told to use it by Paul Williams, so sends it down the way of Boffelli.
No, 6 out.
And the fullback sets it back well. Bit of a standstill for Lavanini to make something of. There goes Bertrano and Sanchez, and then on through Crevy and forwards carry. Very deep from Argentina, and now taken on by Ortega Decio. Didn't go forward, so Moroni gathers it up, but a fairly ponderous attack from Argentina, then the knock-on.
Well, it shows that any side struggles when you hit them on the gain line and they have to play with static ball.
It's unlike Nicolas Sanchez as well to stand so deep. He's one of the tens, the first receivers in the world that takes the ball to the line at every opportunity. It was Decio, Ortega Decio, who decided to take it on, but then it was inaccurate after there. And the knock-on coming, but the Argentinian defence, when Scotland had the ball, has been very narrow. And that time the Scottish defence was wide. It was able to come up and shut off all the options for Sanchez.
Well, there we are. Pack weights sometimes take the pack weights with a large pinch of salt, but fairly close on the official weights.
Both, far side. Again.
It's a really good attacking opportunity for Scotland here.
Hold our space.
It's Paul Williams laying the law down in there, but you've got all the creative and playmakers and strike runners, Stuart Hogg and Blair Kinghorn in there as well. You can see the three Argentinian defenders pretty narrow. There's then a gap between Moroni and Majano, and that may be the space Scotland will try to go.
Closing the space.
And a simple ball, free kick, and Hastings has it now and gives it on to Kinghorn coming off the wing, stabs it forward for Hogg to hunt down. Sits up well enough for Bautista Del Gui. And Argentina's forwards trying by a little bit of ground, carried on there by Rodrigo Bruni. Box kicking comes the cry, and it was true, but Bertrand was under real pressure, the Argentinian scrum half. Back it comes to Adam Hastings now. Not much doing there as he's thumped to deck. Hamish Watson, Maitland, and Johnny Gray.
Release!
Hastings gives it on to Fraser Brown again, so often the ball carrier, the hooker. Hastings again, and easily enough watched by Sanchez.
Stop here! Stop! Stop!
Good distance on his return, but Hogg has it. Hastings alongside. Up it goes, and Hogg will chase this down himself. Just a touch too far, and time for Emiliano Boffelli. Very exciting prospect at full back for the Pumas.
Not supporting, no. You're leading on the man. That's fine.
That's fine, says the referee, as Scotland pile through. Penalty to Argentina.
Not supporting body weight.
And Simon Bergen was the man who was trying to show that he was trying to support his sizable body weight.
Well, I was about to say that Scotland have done very well so far in slowing down nearly every Argentinian breakdown. On that occasion, just a bit of over-exuberance.
Right, okay.
Yeah, Hamish Watson was in the tackle before the breakdown before, and he was actually having dialogue with the referee as he was in a really good position, and then he got his hands off. But this is the one that's penalised, I think, Brian. Simon Bergen getting over.
Yeah, once you go on one foot.
No,
it's fine initially, but then he does lose his body weight forward.
So Agustin Crevi, Argentinian hooker, was the captain under Daniel Hurcade and before that, but Ledesma has given those honours to Matera. Good takedown by Guido Petti. Not the biggest second, usually a back rower. Good shove from Scotland, but Rodrigo Bruni still has it for Argentina. And Bertrand goes only to his forwards, and they make a little bit of ground. And once more a pocket of heavy men. Crevi is there, with driving legs with Matera in behind, and also Medrano. And there's Guido Petti again. Argentina making some decent headway here. Once more through the forwards, the sizable Lavanini, but the ball lost forward, and illegally.
The tackle was made, you can't then play the ball.
An opportunity for Argentina
you can't then play the ball.
to draw level.
This is a penalty we've seen quite often this season, isn't it, Brian? It's really a difficult one, because when a steal's not a steal, almost
you must release.
Once the tackle's made, and Simon Bergen actually got penalised for this when Edinburgh against Ulster early on in the season. It was almost exactly the same thing. The tackle's made there, and then he comes in for a second bite. It's quite, actually, the tackle is quite obvious there. It's a correct penalty, but sometimes we see that second player just coming in almost too quickly.
Well, the problem is for players, you see the ball, and instinctively you think it's there to play.
Ooh, Sanchez. That's a hideous kick from Nicolas Sanchez. Usually so good from the tee, but that was a sitter.
Well, Argentina number one off the tee this year, 82%. They're sitting as a team, and Sanchez has kicked most of those, but it'll be disappointing for that one.
say the least. It was a hard-earned penalty, and Ledesma on the left, what a player he was at the heart of that Argentinian front row. It's a towering restart. Gives Maitland time to get up on Ramiro Majano.
Yeah, I'll move.
Gravy waiting to do his bit here and carrying into Alan Dell.
Just keep an eye on that.
Up it goes from Bertrano, just straight up in the air almost. Bouncing around for Strauss now, gets it back to Hogg. He's quickly engulfed.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit quiet at Murrayfield at the moment. Gilchrist and Gray and Brown.
Okay.
Laidlaw taking his time. Maitland chasing this one down. And then forward it goes, and it's still just about in play. Out it goes now. Not the prettiest passage of play from either side.
Well, the crowd is quiet, and that's because very little is going on the field, but you've got to appreciate that games like this against Argentina teams especially, and in these conditions, are never going to be fulsome and fluid right from the start. More often than not, the last 20 minutes we'll see much more action when players are tired and gaps appear.
Argentinian line-out is safe and solid. There's Gravy at the back, just urging his pack on.
Time to use.
Gives it to Bertrano to send an ugly pass out.
Leave him, yeah, walk up.
Sanchez.
Yep.
High and hanging in the 22, and Hogg spills it forward. Opportunity for Argentina anyway. Bertrano now inside, and Argentina pouring in up to within 7-8 metres of the Scottish line. Back it comes deep, the advantage over now, so Argentina have to come from outside the 22. Scotland defending in their 22 for the first time. Sanchez, and out it goes through Matera, and some quick hands but some loose passing. And now Delguy, Bautista Delguy on the wing. So Agustin Crevi burrows forward again, but Argentina heading backwards, so up it goes to the heavens once more. Hogg again inside the 22 for Scotland, and the ball there to be claimed now, but it went forward, so Matthias Moroni, despite his footballing skills, will be brought back for the Scottish scrum.
Well, you can see the tactics developing, can you? Stuart Hogg's looking around for a bit of support back there. It is wet, and Sanchez has a good boot, he puts it high. It's unusual to see two high kicks so close to the opposition goal line.
It is, but that's as a result of Argentina. The problem that Argentina are having is when they get one piece of quick ball, they're not able to turn it into two or three. And either that's because they're not getting enough numbers in or quickly enough, or not being accurate enough, or Scotland are managing to just stay in there long enough to slow the ball down. And irrespective of the ground you've made or the quickness of the ball, you need two or three in succession to really open the defences up.
Especially when the defence is wider than the attack. I think Scotland's defence is in a good position. It's coming up to shut them down, but it's a dangerous tactic, that high ball from Sanchez. They're terrific in the air as well, the back three of Argentina.
Hold there.
It's a Scottish ball, but their scrum will come under a bit of a squeeze here. Be solid from both sides, and there's a first touch for Hugh Jones.
Inside.
Back deep it comes to the big boot of Stuart Hogg, and just sends it straight down the middle.
Thank you.
Fielded by Mojano, and he gives it on to Boffelli. And Boffelli is chasing this one down. Laidlaw takes and feeds Hastings. Hastings kick charged, and Boffelli is chasing this one now, and Adam Hastings will just get there in time. He'll just seem to snooze for a moment.
It's a high ball again, it's a tactic. They're very, very good in the air. Argentina, that's a charge and fully committed. It's Boffelli who put the initial high ball up, and then you're right, Andrew, everyone seemed to stop here. Boffelli gets up and chases it, but Adam Hastings gets back just in time.
And the restart is a low scuttler from the 22. And Argentina, well, now Kinghorn with a tackle. Now, if that were not at Murrayfield, if that was in Buenos Aires, there might be some cheering from the crowd. It was
well, it should be cheering because unforgivable to just get yourself drifting into touch and turn the ball over effectively from a line out of any of the options. Even just stopping still would have been a better one to allow players to come in and support.
I think he's quite lucky to get away without being penalised for a high tackle as well, Blair Kinghorn. He's done around the head, not malice, but certainly was high.
Short and line out, but long is the throw and taken down by Jamie Ritchie.
Got back.
Strauss holding it at the back, and Scotland with a chance to see if they can maul their way forward, which they're doing pretty usefully. Strauss just breaks off on his own and runs straight into Sanchez. Gilchrist.
Leave him, please, Fort.
On goes Alan Dell. Small, mobile, loose head. Hastings again. Kick half charge down, but it might work okay for Hugh Jones, but he just kicks it the way of Delgui. And back with Argentina again, and their captain Pablo Matera. Lavanini goes to ground.
No, they're all fully bound.
Laidlaw gets the thump in on Bertrano, and Hamish Watson brings it down. Laidlaw now, but a little knock on from Blue Hands. Argentinian scrum. Let's go down and get the thoughts of John Barclay. I suppose, John, you have to tailor your play according to the conditions, but it's I don't know, a nervy start, cagey start from both sides, feeling each other out.
Yeah, very much so. I don't think it's shaping up to be a classic just yet, but I think these are probably the hardest conditions you can play in. It's a hard ground, but the ball is so slippy out there, so both teams are pretty reluctant to play much rugby in the middle of the pitch in fear of giving the ball away either through a penalty or a knock-on. So you're going to see a lot of box kicking, a lot of kicking for territory, with the hope that eventually someone makes a mistake, because when you're stuck and you're pinned down in these conditions, it can get really, really tricky to get out.
Thank you, John. Somebody told me, who takes note of such things, that it's the first rain in a Scotland game at Murrayfield for 2 years.
I'm sorry, I just don't believe that. I don't care. I don't care what stats you've got. I don't believe it.
Ryan is crying fake news. So Argentina with the ball.
Was that Donald Trump's climate specialist?
Wow, we're
giving that figure.
drifting into dangerous territory.
Well, you do know it's a Chinese invention, specifically to ruin US manufacturing.
Let's enjoy the scrum.
Actually, one area of many areas, actually, there's been a considerable improvement in the last 3 or 4 years is the Scotland front row. They've now got 2 effective front rows that are interchangeable, that are capable of scrimmaging, with the best, and that wasn't always the case. It's a significant factor in their improvement.
So Gonzalo Bertrano gives it to Nicolas Sanchez, and again the kick, and racing back is Maitland. It's a very, very well directed kick. Maitland thinking about the quick one, then sees the onrushing Jano. So
that's pretty special. Weather rugby, isn't it? A solid scrum, and then just look at that. Look at the decision for Stuart Hogg. If he goes too early, Sanchez can move that. He just drifts off, finds the space in behind Sean Maitland. Excellent kick, and his forwards will appreciate that.
So Scotland's line out, but all the way back in their own 22. Pressure comes in and the ball is spilled, but a little knock on from Argentinian hands. Scotland's ball anyway.
No. Use it now, please, 9. Barnes over.
So Laidlaw sends it down the line, and in fact just over the line.
It's a good kick as well from Greg Laidlaw, under a lot of pressure there. The ball's so slow, it allows the taller players of Argentina to get close to him, to put pressure on the kick, but it's a good outcome to get off the field.
The problem for Scotland is if they continue to play in this way, balls in the air, effective lottery sometimes, it might go for you, it might not, but it keeps the score close. Were these drier conditions and Scotland could play the game that they wanted to play and have become very good at, then it would be less, fortune bound.
So Argentina attack through the midfield, and they certainly have more of the ball to play with in the last 10 minutes. Again, it's very deep, but on it goes now to Very brisk winger Delgui. He sets it back. And then Rodrigo Bruni. Back through Sanchez to the forwards again. It's Agustin Crevi. A great ball carrier he is. Has been for many years for Argentina. Matera puts it on to Moroni. And now with Majano, and Argentina making good headway again up to the 22. Good hands from Medrano to Garcia Bota. Two props linking well. And there is Lavanini. And then just breaks down for a moment. Hugh Jones falls upon Javier Ortega Decio. Again, some good handling from Argentina, but they have to start again. And once more from depth, up it goes from Sanchez. And it works well enough for Argentina. Comes back eventually to De La Fuente and then to, well, Majano, and that surely will be given as a high tackle. It is arm outstretched.
Yeah, you got the advantage tonight, high tackle.
And Boffelli.
You get a number there, Dan.
And they'll just have that penalty now.
Just a high tackle. 10. Keep him down, please.
Yeah, it was a high tackle, wasn't it? It was after the kick. A wonderful offload from Majano. I must admit, some of the handling from Argentina has been excellent. That's the final one. It's just, I mean, it's just because there's contact round the head and
they call it seatbelt tackle, don't they? It goes over like that.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's not dangerous, but it's within the purview of the emphasis of World Rugby. I mean, another statement again today from the World Rugby Chief Executive, Brett Gosper, saying there hadn't been enough cards, there hadn't been too few cards for high tackles in the autumn series in general. So the referees have all been told, and sorry, you've got to be much stricter on this. Whether or not you like it, whether or not you agree with it, is a different matter. That's the way it's going to be, because they're trying to change player behaviour.
It's a sanction for that look to change player behaviour.
Well, it's Emiliano Boffelli taking over the kicking duties for this one of some distance, 46 metres or so. And I said that before it came up. This one drifting the other way, and 2 kicks, 2 misses for Argentina. I'd say they deserve better, but you've got to knock over the kicks to earn the points.
Chris, I don't know what you think, but whilst you've got to temper your enthusiasm with reality, the rain has stopped now, and Scotland's best opportunities, they play best when they are taking chances.
Well, straight through the middle goes Moroni. Scotland make a real hash of the 22 restart, gifting ball away. And Matera, the captain, switches it to Sanchez. Argentina a man down at the moment, 2 men down in fact, 13 attacking 15, and the ball pings back, but still with Argentina. Crevi gives it on to Sanchez, little stab through, and the chase is on, and Majano couldn't quite get there, says perhaps that he did, and will be urging the referee to have a look, but well, they're drawing the television screen in the sky.
This is a restart. It's Finn Russell on his own. It's actually on to go initially, but a wonderful defensive. De La Fuente recognises that and shuts it down so quickly. This is a kick through on the wet pitch. It's a nice touch, isn't it, by Sanchez? And I don't think Majano gets to it. We'll have another look from this angle. There it is. It's just a lovely, delicate kick through. No, Hugh Jones gets there ahead of Majano.
Well, it was the best he could do in those circumstances, but actually, a fraction earlier, there was a much bigger gap in that corner, and had it gone there, Scotland would have been in more trouble.
Yeah, Argentina tended to drift in field there. They should have kept the width, but I've been impressed with the last 5 or 10 minutes of the quality of the handling of the Argentinian players. Are under a lot of pressure. The Scottish defence is strong, but they're managed to get that offload away, and they're particularly well.
Argentina making a change. Matias Orlando, who was dropped from the centre for this one, will come on. He's coming on for Jeronimo De La Fuente, who's injured in that stealing of the ball. He's got a little bit of blood, so I'm sure he'll be back, De La Fuente.
Well, he did wonderfully well, because he was on his own and he noticed that Finn Russell had the ball, was in space. It didn't look like a lot of space, but that's all these players need to spark the attack, and his reaction defensively, De La Fuente managed to not only stop Scotland but turn the ball over.
In many ways, this is the ideal test for Scotland, this type of game against this type of opponent, because everybody knows Scotland can score tries, but they want to win, they want to be able to adapt as well and show that they can do it sort of ugly-ish when required.
Yeah, they can do, but the point I would make, Andrew, is their best chance of winning games is they've got to play with the ambition that has brought them so much success. Now, I understand they have to temper it slightly in certain conditions, certain opposition, but yet the willingness to do that hasn't been there at the moment.
Okay?
So they're not playing to what I and I think many other people consider are their tactical strengths.
Just Javier Ortega-Decio with the spill from the restart. The referee said it went forwards.
I'm not sure it went forward, honestly, but you're right. The crucial thing, Brian, is the balance of how you play. You don't win games by playing one way or the other. You win games by doing the right thing at the right time and being accurate.
You're right, but at the moment they've just done one thing.
Scotland? Yeah, they've not had a lot of possession other than the first few minutes. They looked quite good attacking the space on the edge of Argentina, and they've not really had much possession thereafter.
De La Fuente is back on, as you saw, for Matias Orlando. But hello.
Now we look at that contact, which will be given as a high tackle.
Yeah, we just saw it just at the very end there. So I think Scotland might be going to suffer here.
And although I don't think it's a yellow card, it was a bit more serious than the other one. Oh yeah, that probably is a yellow card actually.
It's Fraser Brown coming in on Mojano.
Yeah, it's definitely contact with the head. He's trying to just bash the ball, but to see that in full speed would give you a better context there, but it's certainly high, and there's certainly contact with the head.
I'm very surprised if that's not yellow. I mean, again, on replays.
I'll tell you exactly what I'm saying.
Here we are.
The blue player, sorry, the white player is actually diving down to pick up the ball, so therefore he's very low. There's nothing actually wrong with the rat, but yes, it does catch him high, so I'm just going to restart here with the penalty to white.
Okay, well, mitigating circumstances, according to Paul Williams, is that Mojano was very, very low going to ground, so Fraser Brown is spared. Just a penalty to Argentina.
A little bit fortunate, I think. Fraser Brown has no intent. Again, you're flying through, you're trying to get to a loose ball, you're wrapping your arm in the tackle, but under the new guidelines it did make contact with the head. That's a penalty. Could be interpreted at some point as a yellow card, but I think in full speed, yes, it would look worse, but it would give you a context of how little time
I agree,
Fraser Brown had.
and they should be replayed in full speed as well. But I don't think World Rugby will agree with us.
That's fine.
In fact, I'm sure World Rugby won't agree.
About them, all right? You just throw the ball.
And Argentina with the penalty, and now with the line out, and once again with the attack in the Scottish half. Hefty collisions coming now. Scotland still with a very slender lead. Argentina 2 missed penalties. And there is Javier Ortega-Decio. Bertrand gives it to Rodrigo Bruni, taken down by Johnny Gray. Oh, lovely little delayed pass to Boffelli, and fullback hitting the line. And there's Matera again, good hands once more out wide from Argentina, and once more creeping into the Scottish 22. Agustin Crevy getting to ground despite the attention of Bergen and Sanchez. And Murrayfield tries to stir the home side, but all Scottish defence at the moment. Crevy again, just a yard or two from the former captain. Deep it comes, Sanchez, up it goes, and once more Hogg in the 22 under pressure. Takes this one and then takes the hit after he called for the mark, and Javier Ortega-Decio. Yep, and somebody was calling somebody back, for goodness sake. Apologies.
It was a good take by Stuart Hogg. He had to move into position, and the ball was moving in there as well.
Quite a good bit of shepherding as well there by Maitland.
One more.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just trying to protect the catcher.
Oh dear.
And the kick is long from Hogg, but once more an opportunity. And here is Ramiro Mojano, the smallest man in the field, and he says that he's being held back as Hastings takes it on the drop. Good tackle coming in from Matera, and Scotland trying to get it back, but Hastings has to
Leave it, leave it!
Worked hard to set it back now. Did well in the end. Back to penalty to Argentina.
Well, Creevy's in there and does an amazing job, doesn't it?
He's a very good player, Creevy.
10 blue, playing it on the floor.
And whilst I've had observations to make about Scotland's tactics, let's not take away from Argentina and the fact that they have been very adept at keeping the ball. They've denied Scotland possession. They've made ground through powerful runs. Even though they haven't managed to be creative and make clean line breaks, they've kept Scotland under pressure.
Well, worth pointing out, of course, Argentina, even though Scotland did start as slight favourites today, Argentina have lost to Ireland, lost to France, they've lost the last 4 games, but they did beat Australia, they did beat South Africa in the Rugby Championship, so by no means slouches. Better under Mario Ledesma, and now Sanchez again. So the first points for Argentina, finally, 1 kick from 3, and all square on the scoreboard, but Argentina certainly with far more of this game.
Well, they have came into the game really. Their kicking game's good, their chase is excellent as well. But they've had a bit of balance to what they're trying to do. They've offloaded in the tackle, they've kicked high. The challenging high kicks have caused Scotland a little bit of trouble, and they deserve to be, well, not only level, probably deserve to be ahead, Argentina.
The restart down the way of Ortega Decio. Headlong into Dell and Gilchrist.
Oh, there, please, Blue.
And Bertrano having a look. And deep it comes to Sanchez again.
Still alive.
I'm not sure if it's a specific tactic, but you see how far off the field Stuart Hogg had to catch that ball. Nicolas Sanchez, experienced players, get the ball as far off the field as possible.
Ritchie took it down quickly for Scotland as they look to inject a little bit of pace. Out wide it goes from Maitland and then to Hogg. Argentinians swarming around the fullback. A rare attack now for Scotland. Strauss, ball carrier in chief with Johnny Gray. And Scotland turned but get the ball back, and Hastings again onto Fraser Brown. Once more Hastings gives it on to Kinghorn, drifting off his left wing. Hastings again, and didn't see too much available outside. And Russell sends it high and taken down well. Matera for Argentina. Good work by Majano, not the biggest man. Ritchie eventually brought him down. Sanchez gives the little no-look pass on to De La Fuente, but there was a paw in touch.
Well, that's a shame for Argentina that they couldn't keep that ball in. Of the two sides, unusually you would say that Argentina are playing with more creativity at this point.
Yeah, they've got a creative back three, a very good back three that try and get the ball to. Majano there was caught in the midfield. I think it'd be better to move it through the hands rather than take it on himself.
Ritchie right at the back of the Scottish lineouts, and Scotland again. An opportunity as Maitland hurls himself into the Argentinian half. And then Johnny Gray.
No!
Hands come over from Argentina, and Scotland have the penalty advantage. And Gilchrist, free attack for Scotland. So Hastings gliding his way through now and looking for men outside. Hastings rather on his own into the 22. Sets it back now for Fraser Brown. Ritchie feeds out to Bergen. The referee still playing a long advantage, penalty advantage for Scotland. Johnny Gray. And Gilchrist and Hastings onto Ritchie. Sanchez got him, and Creevy over the top. New advantage, says the referee. So penalty there as Creevy came over trying to steal.
Well, there was just a second there on the narrow side when it was on to go for Scotland because Argentina were undernumbered. But the fact that the ball didn't come back quite as quickly or as accurately as was wanted, it was closed down immediately, and therefore had to come back this side.
Well, it was a good break by Hastings, wasn't it? 1 or 2 phases, and then he had the opportunity then to look up, survey what was going on, bit of movement out the back from Grant Gilchrist's pass, and then he takes that space really, really well. A little bit isolated in terms of support, played offload to Fraser Brown eventually, and this is a penalty. Creevy, who comes in at number 2, is fine. It's Nicolas Sanchez who has to roll away, and that's a penalty given away. It's Nicolas Sanchez who's penalised, and I'm sure Greg Laidlaw will chip this over to put Scotland ahead. The first sustained attack from Scotland looks like it's going to result in some more points.
Never one to test Laidlaw that one. So Scotland leads, 8 minutes to go in the first half, and you would say against the run of play, Scotland in front, but taking their chances when offered.
Well, they found some attacking shape with options in and around the ball carrier, and we saw Adam Hastings. We've seen him beat so many defenders in his domestic form for Glasgow. That time was a space in front of me identified and slid through.
Sanchez, a good restart, and Gilchrist just throwing his big arms up, no lift from anyone there, but Scotland have it. And Laidlaw again sends it high and down the line. Good take by Boffelli, the Argentinian fullback. Lavanini flings it again deep, and Sanchez meets Johnny Gray. And the direct approach from the Argentinian forwards. Once more it is Creevy, the hooker. Then back to Sanchez. And testing Hogg again. When it goes to Hugh Jones. Not seen too much of his attacking talent so far. Gilchrist once more. Meets Guido Petty in his opposite number. Laidlaw. And once more Boffelli with a great take, and the offload is slightly forward in any case before the knock-on. Scotland will have the scrum. They're happy for it to play on, so Hogg sends it downfield over the head of Sanchez, and then the bounce takes it away from the fly half. So now has to work hard getting his kick beyond Hogg, but good distance, and Adam Hastings, lots of green grass in front of him.
Out now. No hands!
Heading towards the final 5 minutes as Bergen takes it in, and then Ritchie, met well by Matthias Moroni. And Moroni's felt that one. Good hands, but then the spill from Johnny Gray, then the knock-on from Argentina, but it'll be an Argentinian scrum, and I think we're actually going to get the thoughts of John Barclay again watching this. It's, I don't know, it seems quiet inside Murrayfield, a little bit of a nervous affair, this one.
It seems to be, again, we spoke about the kick cycle before, and that's Scotland are kicking, Argentina going to kick the ball straight back, and you saw Argentina had a lot of possession down in the Scotland half, but once you get stuck down there, neither teams are going to really change their tactics. Argentina will keep kicking the ball back, keep putting the up and unders up, and Scotland will keep kicking the ball long. So once you get down there, you need to wait for someone to make an error, someone to break that cycle to allow you to get back. But it's encouraging. Scotland have had a little bit of ball recently and are showing a willingness to throw the extra pass now. It seems to have stopped raining for a few seconds. So yeah, we'll be interested to see if both teams continue to play the same way, or if the conditions are getting a little bit easier out here on the pitch.
Feed from Bertrano. Always chuckle at scrum half feeds. They said they were going to crack down on them. Not to be. Argentina once more, and then the spill this time from Fuente and Hogg. And Russell sends it, well, pretty well directed. It's a bit of a kicking contest at the moment.
Well, it was a good tackle that set up that opportunity. It was Adam Hastings, I think, who put the tackle on De La Fuente. Dislodges the ball. We quite often see that higher tackle in rugby league when the surface is wet, and then a bit of pragmatism from Russell.
See, one of the problems when you decide to play that kicking game, when Hastings got the ball in open play, it was a prime opportunity. I think a lot of Scotland players didn't get back as quickly as they might have done, expecting him to run, because they were expecting him to kick, and therefore his option was closed down to eventually kick, because the players weren't there as they normally would have been.
Good line out, great maul from Argentina. Cravey steering things again at the back, and 15-20 metres have been made now, heading towards touch, so Argentina use it, and once more, towering kick from Sanchez. Maitland underneath this one, takes it down well, and takes the tackle, but offloads nicely to Laidlaw, and he's under pressure, and he spills, and Argentina have that ball once more. Lavanini fumbling for the biggest man on the Argentinian side, but they'll come back, I think, for the Scottish knock-on originally.
It's too far, so no advantage. We'll play the scrum.
But people may disagree with me, may say I'm not being realistic in the conditions, but if you play this sort of game, an aerial-based game, and it comes down to mistakes, it can go one way or the other. Purely on the bounce of the ball, on a knock-on, on a kick through. And if Scotland want to get hold of this game and keep possession, then they need to alter what they're doing at the moment.
Yeah, by definition, that's both sides, isn't it? I mean, the back threes, probably accentuate that. If there is a loose ball, you'd imagine Stuart Hogg, you can see Stuart Hogg, Maitland or Kinghorn running in from a long way, as with Buffelli, Delgate and Majano. So if it gets loose, the ball pips up. It is a pretty dangerous tactic, but Argentina are doing it really well. That kick was just a little bit too long, but the chase was exceptional. It was Bertrano who made the tackle. So the kick's one thing, the chase is a secondary part that just backs it up.
Well, very good position here for Argentina. Decent sized blindside, big scrum as well. They use it, and Sanchez gives it on. Majano coming in off the left wing and not quite held by Hugh Jones, so
he was held there. That's a penalty.
Hugh Jones felt he was. Majano and the referee disagreed. Ball lost forward in any case, and Scotland will have the scrum.
I think the positive from Scotland in this first half has been the defence. The phase defence has been excellent. They've had a lot of width, they've been able to come forward. Argentina have had a lot of possession, but that set piece defence there would please Matt Taylor, the Scottish defence coach, because it was Hastings, Finn Russell and Hugh Jones challenged at the line by 3 or 4 runners. But what the Scotland midfield did is stayed together, they worked together. The tackle was made, he was held, he didn't release.
He is not allowed to get up there. That's effectively completed.
Let's get these points on, please.
It all ends in any case in a Scottish scrum.
Yeah, the midfield three working well as a unit there. That'll please the Scottish defence. But the Argentinians are dangerous. Sanchez is really good at putting players through gaps.
Now Scotland looking for some adventure from the final passage of play as the steam rises. Hogg once more. The boots. Out it goes, and not too far away from half-time. Buffelli.
And I think that's an underestimated part of Hogg's game, the length of his kick, isn't it?
Yeah,
often caricatured as just someone who is a brilliant attacker, let's face it, but he does have the ambition and the length of kick with us as a complete package almost.
And a really good short kicking game. We often see him setting up tries with short attacking kicking game, so both parts, the clearance, the distance, as well as the soft touch as well.
You think that was straight? It wasn't in the line-out. They're getting like scrums now.
If the referee says it's straight, it's straight. That's all we need to know. So final attack will go to Argentina if they wish to do so. Matera down to the feet of Bertrano under pressure from Johnny Gray.
Oh, thanks very much, he says.
Ball still there for Argentina.
That's silly.
That is silly, says the referee. Sanchez being left in no uncertain terms by the referee.
Interesting tactic.
That was good.
Turnover is good, says the referee, so Scotland might have a final assault as it's flung back by Ritchie. Loose it is, but there is Watson now with it. Argentinian defence up quickly. Laidlaw to Bergen, and Bergen deeper now to Hastings. Out it comes to Strauss. Strauss just muscling his way past Sanchez. Sanchez flung himself into Strauss on the ground. Johnny Gray takes a 1-2, but there was a bit knocked forward in there, and that will be an end to things. Not a try-fest, not the most entertaining first half, but certainly intriguing because both sides desperately want this victory. It is Scotland to lead through 2 penalties from Greg Laidlaw. Argentina have had their chances, but only one knocked over from Sanchez, so Scotland lead at the break by 3 points. 6-3 into half-time. One change to the Argentinian side at half-time, and it was the return of Matias Orlando, who came on as a blood replacement for De La Fuente in the first half, but he's on for the outside centre, Matias Moroni, in the second half. No changes to the Scotland side, but certainly they'll be looking for greater things. Ortega Decio with the initial take and carry, but Argentina determined, I was going to say, to end their November on a high, but again a reminder, they're playing the Barbarians next Saturday at Twickenham. That's on the BBC. Confirmation of that change with Orlando on for Moroni. Now here is Adam Hastings, gives it to Strauss. Meets Matera. And Johnny Gray and Gilchrist in tandem. And then to Bergen, into his opposite number, Santiago Medrano. Hastings just delays, and they're a very rare touch for Russell. Barely saw him in the first half. And Allendale, the Scotland loosehead. Strauss once again says he is nothing but a ball carrier, and getting his first chance in 18 months to start for Scotland today. And pressure comes in on Hugh Jones, who can only set it back. Hamish Watson, and then loses it forward in the contact. So opportunity again for Argentina, and Bertrano, the scrum half. And Bautista Delgui, the right winger, left now for Medrano.
So, advantage over now.
Back it comes to Sanchez, and a little deft chip this time, but taken by Hugh Jones just as Matias Orlando came through, and penalty to Argentina.
Seal straight off. Straighting off. Sealing off.
There's Adam Hastings. It's penalised for sealing off, not allowing a fair contest for possession after Hugh Jones caught the chip. It's good defence that time from Argentina. 7 phases for Scotland. Then when they did win the turnover, they went to the chip quite early. Hugh Jones was actually fortunate to be in the right place, covered it well, but then you can see Adam Hastings flopping over to the ball. He does get back to his feet, but you have to stay on your feet, you have to retain your body weight and allow a fair contest for possession.
Of course, let's make one comment about the conditions now. It's not rained since about the 20th minute. There is no wind, and although the surface will be slightly wet, these are no more difficult conditions than in previous games. So I would expect Scotland should be able to temper the game with a bit more width. The key is quick ball, as John Barkley was saying.
Well, good kick from Sanchez from that distance, and Argentina are level. Certainly no less than they deserve.
Yeah, it's a good strike, isn't it? He had that early, uncharacteristic miss, but that's a nice strike from Sanchez. But the key to how Scotland play is possession, Brian. I don't think I've had enough possession to dictate how the game's going. They'll be looking to get their hands on the ball.
And restart again, fielded by Javi Ortega Decio, the number 8. And then Thomas Lavanini, who, like most of the players on the Argentinian side, almost all of them play for the Jaguares, the Argentinian super club side.
One noticeable change from the first half maybe was the 2 kicks at that man Nicolas Sanchez has put to ball. Scotland have had a lot of pressure on him, trying to force a poor kick.
Well, despite the pressure, Argentina win their line out again. Matera. And Rodrigo Bruni does his bit of carrying. Back it comes to Sanchez.
Stop here. 4.
And Hogg once more being pressurised, takes it, and then takes the hit coming in from Bautista Delgui. Does well, Hogg. And there is Ritchie on his own there, but gets to ground well. And Bergen to Gilchrist. Hastings was being lined up by Delgui. Still with Scotland though, half an opportunity as Hogg chips. And then Kinghorn can't quite keep the ball in play.
Well, Kinghorn just flashing on the loose ball, putting the ball at touch, but there's two terrific tackles from Delgy in that phase of play. The first one was the kick that was too long and he managed to hit, I think it was it Stuart Hogg he got. And then the second one, watch him, he gets back to his feet, comes out to it and hits Adam Hastings, man and ball, shutting off the pass to the outside. Good technique, good collision.
Well, he sold himself as he had to do there because he didn't make that tackle man and ball. There were 3 men left free. When you make that decision to go in, you've got to get the ball.
Argentina again, just creeping forward in the maul again. It's Creevy at the back.
Out.
Scotland trying to hold up their man.
I don't think that was the wisest decision for the scrum half to ring 2 second rows, to be honest.
No, I'm not sure he'll do that too many. I think he was caught by surprise. The ball popped out. They were still creeping forward. Creevy with the ball at the back, and it popped into Bertrano's hand. The pass was shut off, and he decided to take the whole pack on himself.
Interestingly, well, you can be the judge of this. The game that Scotland last scored, as you watched the replay, last failed to score a try. You have to go back to 2016. I thought it might be against England here in the Six Nations of that year, just 32 games ago, 59 England won. But there was actually a game against Japan in the summer of 2016 where Scotland scored 21 points, but all from the boot. So, talking 26 games ago that Scotland last failed to score a try in a test match.
We've scored 39 tries so far this season. It's second only, as we said at the top of the show, to the All Blacks. But sometimes you have to win different ways, as you see.
That's an awful start.
Is it Landaho warming up?
I'm coming over here.
Well, Landaho was for a long time the #1 scrum half, but with the new coach Ledesma, effectively his man has been Bertrano.
He's played well, Bertrano. You know, I know he just tried to take on the whole pack himself and got turned over, but his kicking's been good. His kick chase has been good, interestingly, for a scrum half as well. But you've got a lot of experience in Landaho on the bench.
Let's go.
So Laidlaw gives it on to Hastings now. Here's Kinghorn. Didn't really see a chance to show his pace. He was well shackled there by Matias Orlando, and penalty to Argentina. Great defence, and Orlando leading it, and he earns the applause from his teammates.
Well, you have to give credit to the Argentinian defence in terms of selection of when to go in and not, because that drag back ball, if you commit to that and don't get it right, then you leave a lot of space outside you and you leave men free to exploit it. But on the few occasions that Scotland have used that deep drag back ball, the Argentinians have pursued it and got it right and put the man down and caused problems.
There's two really good elements to what he does here. First, you're right, it's a decision to go for it, but then if you go for it, you have to be technically good enough, not only to make the tackle, but pop to your feet and win the possession. He's done everything there, Orlando. He's made the right decisions, he's accelerated into the contact, popped back to his feet and won his penalty. Those little big things can swing momentum in a match, and that's 3 times in the second half that Argentina have taken a risk in defence and they've came out on top.
Well, Sanchez, who, as we were talking about earlier, went through 700 international points against France last weekend. Not all of them against France, but it's been a decent career, and this to put Argentina in front. And it's just drifting, and the assistants had a long look at each other, and another miss, and Argentina should be a distance in front at the moment.
Well, with less than 9 points on that one. Begging, haven't they now?
Yeah, it's unlike Sanchez. The thing is, he's such a natural kicker. Don't to get too boring, but if you're a very technical kicker and you miss, you tend to realise what you've done wrong, the process. But when you're so natural and you miss, you're not as inclined to know what to put right for the next one.
Yeah.
Was that too boring, Andrew?
Well, you did preface it, but anyway, a little knock on from Argentina at the restart.
So what did he say?
He drifted off.
It's a knock on.
I enjoyed it. Coming back for the
advantage.
Scotland scrum.
Knock on.
You need to know what to put right if you miss.
You mean it's like a self-made golf swing when you're not
pretty much,
yeah.
If you break it down into a process or steps, and you know which bit of the step or which step you did wrong, you know what to put right.
The difference between Bubba Watson and
exactly,
and anyone else, really.
Yeah, pretty much. This is so natural. It's all about feel, hand-eye coordination. So it's more difficult to fix someone when you're
Also,
like
as a goal kick, what do you think about this? The fact that he had to go and readjust the ball, and then didn't seem to take that long and have a repeat process.
Well, you should start. You should have the same process every single time, but he obviously had to replace the ball. A couple of changes as well.
Landajo has come on for Bertrano, and Scotland making a couple of changes as well. On the front row, Willem Nel is coming on, and he'll come on for Simon Bergen. And there also Ryan Wilson coming on in the back row, and I think Jamie Ritchie is Josh Strauss is coming off.
Space, fine.
I'm still staggered that Bubba Watson got a mention in the rugby commentary.
I mean, we're talking about problems of possession and what have you, but this balance is something, because John Barker was talking about the need to play in the right areas of the field and so on. If you don't find yourself there and you kick the ball, obviously you turn it over. If they don't make mistakes, you don't get possession, so you don't get momentum. So you've got to find a different way of solving that conundrum.
Chant for the front rows.
Front row. Just the front row. Guys, I'll tell you now, this crowd has not turned up today to watch reset scrums, okay? Yeah. We need to get this right.
Brian
we need
has.
the space. If you want me to start going free kicks and penalties, I'm happy to do that, but it's your responsibility.
Tell you what,
Right?
why not just penalise them and get on with it?
Or the front rows could give everyone their money back.
Poor Willem Nels just came onto the field. I've been watching this.
Get it right.
And if you don't get it right, Chris Patterson is going to come and give you a goal kicking
Exactly.
technical lesson, and that will really learn you.
Time back
We're going
on.
to talk about technicalities. Bring Bubba Watson swing into it as well, maybe.
Chris Patterson's book out for Christmas. Goal kicking, how I did it my way.
Coach!
Actually, mention of the crowd from the referee, the 11th sellout at Murrayfield in a row. And again, when you think of 17,000 coming to watch Scotland-Argentina a few years ago, a big improvement on that front, but Scotland looking to improve on the field now. And there's Hastings giving it out wide, and Hogg again just off the outside of the boot for Kinghorn to chase down, but Mojano does well without much time, sending it down the line to Hogg once again. Maitland. Ritchie to Hastings, and almost good jackling work from Argentina. Lofted pass to Hogg, offloads well to Maitland. Ball just about loose, and you can see the difficulty the players are having. Knock on Gray, and Argentina will have the scrum.
Just saw there, Chris, when the ball came left, not this last time, but the penultimate time, and Stuart Hogg found himself having to sort of mark time a little bit, because his run, I just wonder when the ball is coming across with different centres than he's used to, that affects his time, and he's slightly in front, and when he got the ball he was relatively stationary.
Sometimes I think that the longer the ball's in the air as well means it's harder to hit the ball at full flight. That one was a bit lofted, it was over the top from I think it was Delguy who stepped in from the right wing. So the slower the pace of the ball, the harder it is for you to get your timing right to hit it hard. But
no, that's fine.
It's good from Scotland's point of view that Stuart Hogg's got his hands in the ball. He got the offload away to Sean Maitland there, but again the story of the match, not getting past 3, 4, 5 phases before the knock on comes.
Martin Landajo, 84th cap, waits to feed the scrum, and the decision is free kick to Argentina. And there is Orlando. Hastings trying to hold him up, but gets the ground well enough. Bruni, Johnny Gray and Ryan Wilson thump into him. Sanchez to his forwards again, and Creevy once more. Captain Matera. Sanchez has this ever-present pocket of 3 forwards sitting outside him as an option. And back it comes now to Sanchez. And once more into a very grey sky. Well taken by Maitland. Hamish Watson out to Hogg now. Can't quite free himself and looks for the offload, goes backwards. Laidlaw has it, and on through Nell and Gray, and here is Ryan Wilson, and a bit of space now for Adam Hastings. Hastings sees support outside, wanders that way, Now Scotland on the front foot. Russell outside to Ritchie. Ritchie barges his way up to the 22. For sign of life from Scotland, Fraser Brown.
Advantage.
And advantage to Scotland. The penalty is coming, but the crowd is lifted for once.
Have the advantage.
Laidlaw.
Advantage.
Hugh Jones always taken round the neck, and that might be bad for Bruni.
No. Way to go.
Well, Scotland had a couple of tackles which were examined in the first half.
No, not now. Not now. Oh, yeah, sure. Whereabouts was the first one then?
And Paul Williams.
Okay.
He was right beside the
So you've got two
tackles.
options. Yeah. One here, or was it inside the 22? Inside the 22. Whereabouts was it, Nige?
It was wide out, wasn't it?
Just the penalty.
Yeah, the two penalties.
On the 15.
Scotland now get the
So
chance
where you are,
to choose
or
between
on
the two.
15 metre, just outside the 22. Here. Okay.
Yeah, pretty sure.
All the
It's a
speed.
high tackle. Was it Creevy or Bruni? One of the two, certainly.
Yeah.
But because there's two penalties in the same phase of play, Scotland get to choose which one they'd rather, or which position they'd rather take the penalty from.
Yeah.
And if you're kicking a goal, that's obviously the right decision.
Yeah, it's Creevy with the tackle and Jones, but
Yeah.
again, probably the right decision, just a penalty.
I think so. Bruni certainly comes in over the top afterwards, but there's no force. It's high, penalty only for me.
Well, it's contact over the shoulder, but not contact with the head.
Well, it's neck, throat or head, isn't it? I think it's listed in the law book for a high tackle.
And it gives Laidlaw the chance to put Scotland in front again. And again, the difference is that Laidlaw takes those opportunities for Scotland where Argentina have failed. 3 times they've missed kicks, and Laidlaw unerring. 9-6 Scotland lead. Well, the brightest passage of play for Scotland in the last 5 minutes. And Wilson, newly on the field. Back to Hogg.
Stop here, 18! Thank you.
Goes the way of Boffelli. Powerful number 15, almost into Landajo, then meets Johnny Gray. And here is Landajo feeding the forwards once more. Medrano. And once more, good effort by De La Fuente to make ground. Then forwards with that direct approach. Scotland's defence being tested once more. Pablo Matera.
No!
Ritchie trying to get his hands over, then
on the first one.
thinks better of it. Oh, Scotland strip it through Dell.
Watch out.
And Hogg with a chance to hoof it downfield again. And Boffelli. And Scotland will have the line out just about on halfway.
Well, that's a good turnover in the end. I think it was Alan Dale that stripped, and the difference between this and the one in the first half was the tackle just wasn't completed. If you're a fraction of a second longer, that's actually a penalty against you, but just before the knee hits the ground. Oh, that's so close, isn't it? But really good play by Alan Dale to strip the ball, win the turnover, and Scotland gained territory through the kick.
So Fraser Brown to Gilchrist.
Sack's fine. Sack's fine.
The sack is fine, says Paul Williams, as Scotland thought that perhaps
Thank you.
Gilchrist had been brought down as he tried to go forward. Hastings just pops it out to Hugh Jones.
Lost. No.
Johnny Gray again.
Oh, I was okay with that one, mate.
There's Hamish Watson. Oh, held around the ankles by De La Fuente. And Creevy and Argentina get the penalty. And great work by Agustin Creevy, strong position over the ball, said Paul Williams. It was certainly that.
Well, that is one of his particular strengths. You've seen him working very hard during the game. He hasn't managed to turn many over, but he has been instrumental in slowing ball down as well.
He's so aggressive and he's such a good shape for that skill, isn't he? He gets low, he's strong, he's got a wide base. The phase before that, he was lucky, well, he was unlucky not to win the penalty, but he just gets in such a strong position. There he is.
Got in a good strong position.
Yeah, and he's on the ball.
I was happy with it, Greg.
Greg Laidlaw was asking the question if the ruck was already formed because he wasn't the first man there, but Paul Williams is happy. He's played well, Creevy, him and Matera, when they've had to go to someone for experience. Those are the two that have stood up so far for me.
Will take down by Petty, and Argentina come again. So much of the ball to play with. Sanchez almost wandering through on his own.
Ball's out.
Here is Bruni. And Fraser Brown wrestling with him.
Tackle!
Nell adding his weight. Scotland's defence getting a thorough workout today. There is Creevy. Back it goes for Landajo and through the hands of Lavanini, a little bit loose in Sanchez now.
No. It was your player. Get your feet away, move your feet away.
Bruni with the spill, and Scotland will have the scrum again. We can see the difficulties. It is dry now, it's not raining, but the ball's still very wet, the ground's still very wet.
And one of the problems that Argentina have got when they are winning ball is because Sanchez stands so deep, doesn't stand flat to the line, they can't afford for him to take the ball static. Because all he's doing is putting pressure outside. At least if he stands flat and does that, they'll be closer to the gain line, but because he's both deep and static, it means people outside him are just running into organised defences.
We see this so often, almost right on the 60-minute mark. It's a sort of prescribed change. It's, you know it's going to happen. Agustin Creevy has been playing so well, but he's off, replaced by Julian Montoya, who won his 50th cap last weekend, Montoya, but only
Montoya's not a bad player either, by the way.
Only 4 of his 50 caps have been as starts. That's the sort of modern game for you.
Let's go.
Yeah, going back to what you were saying, Brian, it's so unlike Sanchez to play as static as that. He's very good for me, usually taking the ball to the line, pulling players, you know, with them and putting them through gaps. What the difference there for Argentina after their multi-phase in that middle third? In the first half they would go to the air and get some joy from the kicks. That time they kept the ball in hand, and it's almost you're just waiting for the turnover, the knock on to come. Almost, aren't you?
No, I mean, it's fine if you are going to sit back in the pocket and do that, but you can't move the ball.
Yeah.
You know, with a first receiver that is both deep and static and expect to work.
Stuart McInally coming on for Fraser Brown at hooker. Alex Dunbar's coming on in the centre as well. He's coming on for Hastings, so Finn Russell will shift into fly half, and it'll be a Dunbar-Jones midfield now for Scotland. A difficult afternoon for Adam Hastings. There is Alex Dunbar. So Russell at fly half, Dunbar at inside centre, Jones outside. And a penalty to Scotland.
That's the second time early.
So usually just a free kick for an early engagement, but a second penalty administered by Paul Williams this time, and up steps Stuart Hogg. This nudge into the 22, and Murrayfield responds. A rare bit of noise this afternoon.
Start 5.
And Argentina making a change as well. Matias Alemano is coming on in the second row, replacing Thomas Lavanini.
We go to the back 10. Time back on.
So McInally's first action. Throw into this line, and over the arms of Ritchie it goes, and carried by Bruni on the gallop. Groan from the crowd. Second line out that Scotland have lost. Lovely time pass But it goes to Mojano, such an elusive runner. And suddenly Scotland's attacking position is into one of defence again. And Matera is a hard man to bring down, but just not taking the ball with him. Jones. Is his kick too far? Out on the full it goes.
Is, yes.
So mistakes from both sides, but Scotland certainly guilty when they had that promising position.
Yeah, it's an intricate move, wasn't it, to try and throw over the tail, or certainly to the tail. And it was well picked up by Bruni, who's had some pretty industrious carries himself.
And it's Bruni who gets it down from the line out, and Sanchez away now. And on to the replacement centre, Matthias Orlando. Alamano fresh on the field. Replacement second row, and then Julian Montoya.
Off now!
Still with Argentina. Penalty to Scotland, and the work this time by Jamie Ritchie over the top of that one like a limpet.
There's always a tackle.
Argentina just sending one man in against three there. Never going to end well.
He's played well, Jamie Ritchie. He's put a lot of tackles in. He was physical in around the breakdown in attack and defence in the first half, and he's done well to win a penalty. It's 2 penalties in quick succession that Scotland have given themselves an opportunity to launch for. There's Ritchie in right away. Landajo can do absolutely nothing about that. He's trying to buy the penalty, but again another example of the game almost stopping before our eyes, before the referee blows his whistle.
So on the other side of the pitch, but carbon copies. Scotland with a penalty through Hogg into the Argentinian 22. McAnally this time goes shorter to Ritchie, and Scotland try and maul. And here is the cry of heave from Murrayfield. McAnally at the back, and in comes the extra weight. Wilson is there. They've had one shot at it, and Argentina shored up their defence. So out it comes to the back, Stavrobash and Dunbar. That power he has in midfield. Ryan Wilson. Out it goes to Nell. Tries to barge his way past Orlando. Argentina's defence strong enough at the moment. Johnny Gray. Switch of play now in Hogg, and an opportunity for Scotland, and it's Maitland, and there is the try! Finally it comes, and there will be no tryless game for Scotland today. 15 minutes to go, and the first try puts Scotland further clear.
Well, it's finished with Sean Maitland, but it's a brilliant piece of scanning and decision making from Stuart Hogg. He notices that the left hand side of the ruck is bare from Argentina. Just watch it with the top of your screen. He scans, he calls into Greg Laidlaw, but it comes back down there. There he is, he has a look, he screams, and he knows there's only one defender. It's Mojano. Sean Maitland keeps his with. It's a brilliant piece of decision making and scanning from Stuart Hogg. Usually he scores, at times he's setting up as a provider, and Sean Maitland gets another try. I think it's 5th in a row here on his home soil. That's what they're looking for, the breakthrough this afternoon.
It is, but it's also poor from Argentina in terms of guards. Either side usually at least have one man. They didn't manage to get even one there in the wing. Unfortunately for him, Mojano's got to make a decision. He decides to come in, that leaves Maitland free. To be fair to the Argentinian winger, he had no choice because the people who should have been there weren't. Yeah, it was, and I know from experience he would be calling, he'd be screaming at the players. But sometimes when you get fatigued, you just go into the rhythm, you go the same way. Stuart Hogg identified that, called it into Laidlaw, and attacked in the right hand side.
Well, this is the corner of Murrayfield that Chris has always said is the most difficult for place kicking. Laidlaw off the right foot, it's a tester. What a kick. If it has the legs, not quite, just died. Well, he's not often beaten by a place kick, but that was just beyond him with a distance from out there. But Maitland's try, and Scotland 8 points in front.
There's Greg Laidlaw's reaction to the call. He just hears it last minute, pivots, hits Hogg, who sets Maitland free. Really good heads up, clinical scanning, decision making for Stuart Hogg, and a good score for Sean Maitland.
For the change. Juan Pablo Zeiss is on for Santiago Madrano in the front row. This is number 17. And Hogg sends a huge kick down the east stand. And Byron McGuigan has just been announced to the Murrayfield crowd. He is back on, so too Sam Skinner. There is McGuigan, scored for Sale last week against Saracens. And all sorts of changes. Alex Allen is on in the front row for Allendale. McGuigan on for Kinghorn. A quiet game for Kinghorn. Up against it today on the wing. There's advantage being played, and Argentina have the penalty. Garcia Botta is on as well in the front row for Argentina, and Martin Landaco is being brought back.
Here we are. Right. Offside from the check, from the line now. Did we get a number, Nigel? Multiple numbers offside. Yeah. Shot.
No, this is a case of the defenders who weren't in the line advancing too quickly, being caught by assistant referee, and this is an interesting decision for Argentina. Sanchez has a mixed day with the boot. Probably the right decision, Brian.
Yes, there's just possibly enough time, but bearing in mind they've been almost relying on spills from the air to get chances of a try, and even if they get this, they're going to be 5 points behind. Could make a case for going to the corner.
Sanchez and
Especially if he does
another
that.
one. And if you know you're kicking badly, and he's just his timing is off today, and how many chances? That's 12 points have gone begging for Argentina now.
Yes, but fairly with a long range effort, and I think it's 3 misses now for Sanchez.
Do you do consultancy work?
So you were listening.
Look, I
that's Gonzalo Cazeda.
I balked at the £1,000 an hour mark.
No, it's not an easy thing to do. It's not a nice thing to do when you're missing, but he's a wonderful goal kicker. He's just having an off day.
And Rodrigo Bruni takes it in again. Ball for Argentina as we head towards the final 10 minutes. And so much of the play, the visitors.
Balls quick, fine play on.
And Zeiss, the replacement prop.
Ripped out in the tackle.
Ripped out in the tackle. Dunbar comes away with it, gives it on now to Russell. And an ooh from the crowd as they felt he was impeded late. McGuigan chasing this down. Sanchez is there, and McGuigan just gets around his laces and hurled towards touch, and Sanchez manages to keep it in play somehow. And Matera. So again, the forwards asked to carry, but so close to their own try line. Again, just bringing play infield as well, give a kicker a bit of an angle. Forwards again, though, asked to do a bit, and once more it's the captain, Matera.
Hold out.
Sanchez waiting in the in-goal area, but it is Martin Landaco, the scrum half, who kicks. Hogg waits, and Hogg will not take the quick line out.
Well, that eventually was a very good exit from Argentina, to have the patience and the technique to fashion something from a very acute angle into a kickable angle.
Defense!
That's the second in a row, steal in a row. We've seen the rip, isn't it? And then from the turnover, good play from Finn Russell to put the ball in behind. I actually think Nicolas Sanchez was trying to get himself towards the touchline after the great chase from McGuigan.
He was desperately crawling, they couldn't quite get there.
Never quite got there, but as you say, well managed and a good exit thereafter.
Because at what point do you say to your regular kicker, sorry, we're going to try someone else, because it's only crushing for confidence?
That's pretty much an on-field decision between the guys who are out there. I think I would say it's your responsibility as a kicker to hand it over rather than somebody take it off you.
Sebastian Cancellieri is on for Delgui on the wing for Argentina, and once more they have the ball. What can they make of it? Good charge from Guido Petti. Pop pass on through the middle goes Boffelli, and Boffelli now looking around, and here is the support, and De La Fuente is there into the 22, and Argentina pouring forward. Boffelli on the loose ball, but went forward. Scotland will have the scrum despite the celebrations of Emiliano Boffelli.
Well, I just wonder what would have happened if De La Fuente had stepped outside instead of in there. Simple inside ball. It's here. If he goes outside, the people who are naturally streaming on his right would have been a lot closer. As soon as he stepped back in, he ran into more traffic.
Yeah, it's Sam Skinner with the eventual tackle. Really good effort from the second row to get back, but Scotland actually do a good job of covering back. That's the Sanchez we know and we've expected, really taking the ball to the line, creating space, putting players like Boffelli, a wonderful attacker through space. Because Scotland flood back on his right hand side, it makes it difficult for De La Fuente to go anywhere else. Good last ditch tackle from Skinner and Hogg, but it shows you how dangerous this Argentinian team can be. If that had gone, Boffelli would have scored.
Well, he's unlucky there because it wasn't stripped. He hit his boot, hit the boot of the Scotland tackler, sent it out.
Maitland and Boffelli. Warm words for each other. Nervous times for Scotland, although crucially because of the missed kicks from Sanchez and one from Boffelli. 8 points still the difference, so beyond the converted try, and only 7 minutes remaining.
Both sides. Let's square up, eh?
We can't say all the kicks were easy, and indeed, and Chris will probably confirm that no kicks are particularly for a top-class goal kicker. Some of them have been relatively straightforward, without distance and not from acute angles. And bearing in mind there's 12 points left off the board there.
Boys, set, hold.
Solid enough scrum at the moment, but no penalty to Argentina.
You have to go either for a scrum now, don't you?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Must be a scrum.
Not only because it's actually you've got both sides to attack.
So, well, they're going to take a shot. They know they need this and then a try, so
this makes no sense to me.
Because right here under the posts with a scrum, you need a converted try and then more, so take your best chance of the converted try. But it's Sanchez, and Argentina whittle away at the lead.
But not only that, what time in the game have they got into that position?
Well, that's the thing.
To be a try scored. If they were habitually creating chances, you could understand that point.
Get quick thoughts again from John Barclays, who watched this penalty, and well, it's had nervous moments, and certainly that now, John.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think Scotland will be pretty relieved they took the 3 there, to be honest. It's a slightly strange decision based on the fact that they've not really got that close to the Scotland line this half, so you would have thought they would have taken their opportunity to take 7. But I was going to say that the Scotland bench have made a huge impact. I think leading up to the try, the carries of Alex de Mars come on, giving them a bit of a target in the backs, a little bit of a change of attack. Then Ryan Wilson carried, VP now carried, and just that little bit more energy in a game that has been a little bit one-paced.
Sanchez just delighted to have a kick he could knock over. 5 minutes to go, 5 points the difference, but that was a big decision in front of the post with the penalty, and Ryan Wilson at full tilt into Matias Alemano. Lob wide to Ritchie, clutches it. And Hamish Watson.
Hands away! No.
Laidlaw, and the chase is on again. Maitland just knocks it forward, and Landajo gets it anyway. Opportunity once more for Argentina now, and it's a Cancellieri, and Cancellieri taken down on halfway. But Argentina racing forward, opportunity now, and there is Bruni, and the flanker waiting for support, but dangerous times now for Scotland. And Sanchez gives it on. And again, this time with a replacement second row, Alemano sets it back. Here is Sanchez again. And then the spill forward, and Scotland are spared one more time. They are living by Well, the skin of their teeth, Scotland.
Well, how many times is that? 3 or 4? Sometimes a result of poor ball retention, quite often a case of Scotland actually forcing a turnover.
Well, in the last few minutes, isn't it, we've seen how dangerous, and we've seen more line breaks in the last 2 or 3 minutes than any other time from Argentina. When the game breaks up, they've got such elusive quality individual players who can find space. Sanchez is playing flat, and that ball was a poor pass to Matera, and it let Scotland off the hook. But still a threat
They
there.
found gaps close to the breakdown, either with the inside ball or direct running, choosing not to go wide where Scotland have been effective in covering.
Well, Landajo's made an impact off the bench as well in and around that area, and bringing other players into the game and raising the intensity. So an impact from both benches.
The worried face, a worried craggy face of John Jeffrey watching on. White Shark, what a player. 3 minutes, Scotland's ball, and Scotland's very slender lead.
5, 6.
Argentina put the shove on in the scrum, but Scotland, a little chip from Russell, and gambling onto it is McGuigan. McGuigan now, he too with a kick. Half charged down, but he regathers. Out to Watson. Set back by the open side. McAnally. And Scotland looking to finish with aplomb here. Laidlaw points the way, and Bruni comes over trying to disrupt Scotland, slowing it down and going through the forwards now. Ryan Wilson. 2 minutes remaining of Scotland's autumn. Set back by Alex Dunbar this time. And Scotland just going through the forwards, and Gilchrist. Russell. Is it on to Ryan Wilson, had to take it with Matthias Orlando. Advantage to Scotland, penalty. Well, it's kickable, it's an opportunity to put it beyond a converted try. I wonder if Scotland will try and finish with something special, or will they be clinical?
I think you'll take the opportunity, won't you? Or you'll try and take the opportunity to free it. I think Marco Juan Pablo Zeiss is a little bit unfortunate here, because it's part of the tackle, so it's no clear release, but
it's so marginal, is it, for players? You have a split second to make a decision whether you go in or out.
Yeah.
If you try and play it safe all the time, you'll never get a turnover ball.
It's running out of time. Are you going to make a decision?
And it doesn't need a big release, it just needs a motion to the referee that you're releasing with your arms, but it's certainly pretty hardly done by, I think. But
10. No, I'm kidding. No.
Well, Greg Laidlaw has been given the hurry up by Paul Williams. They were taking a lot of time over the decision, trying to eat away at the clock, and Paul Williams was having none of it. So,
well, he doesn't take a lot of time in his run-up. He takes him quickly, and he's got 90 seconds to play with. So he's as wise and as wily as ever, Greg Laidlaw.
And this too, a complete victory for Scotland. Well, he's given that absolutely everything. Is it going to get there? Just short. So Argentina try and run from the depths, and Sanchez now gives it out wide. And Cancellieri hit hard. It was only the distance which beat Laidlaw. And De La Fuente, as the clock goes red, and Argentina still with some hope. Landajo, and the Pumas looking for a miracle as Bruni takes it in. Only cries of Scotland around Murrayfield, but it's Argentina's ball still. Matera. They have to run, they have to hope the ball is loose. Mojano flings himself upon it. The winger's done well, but Argentina pegged back again as Montoya carries for just a yard or two. They need far more, Argentina. And there is Bruni. A bit of a standstill. Is there one final twist? Scotland with the stout tackling in Argentina with no way through at the moment. Pegged back almost in their own line, hoping for something magical. Sanchez took it in, Landajo gives it out. 10 phases and no ground made.
Both sides.
An exercise in defence for Scotland, and then the spill and the loose ball will be an end to things now, and Scotland will have victory. Hard fought, they have just about survived here. They've scored the only try, and they do end their autumn with a victory. So often their play in the past has been beautiful. Today was not pretty, but it is a victory for Townsend's men.
Well, it was all about defence for Scotland there to try and score. Sean Maitland, they worked really hard in defence, didn't have a lot of possession. There was one moment of brilliance in the game in the try, but you know, these games need managed, they need looked after, they need cool heads and calm heads, and they had that in Greg Laidlaw this afternoon. Scotland,